making the same old boring and predictable cinnamon rolls? Then why don't you give my cardamom buns a try? Originating from Sweden, these cardamom buns are super buttery and flaky and has an intense cardamom flavor throughout. One bite of these and you'll instantly be hooked. You'll never want to go back to eating regular cinnamon rolls ever again. So if that sounds exciting to you, then why don't you stick around for a little bit and make yourselves comfortable, and I'll show you exactly how to make these Swedish cardamom buns. Hi, my name is Tiffany and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making some cardamom buns, a Swedish twist on the classic cinnamon roll. These buns are super buttery and also has cinnamon and cardamom flavor throughout, and dare I say it, these buns are a huge improvement and is much more flavorful than the cinnamon rolls that we get up here in Canada, if I do say so myself. Hopefully that doesn't come across as sacrilegious. So if this style of cinnamon bun sounds enticing to you, or you just simply want a little slice of Sweden, then please give this video a like. And if you are new here and you're not already subscribed to my channel, please smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to be notified whenever I make a new baking tutorial or short. I make new baking content every week, and my content is suitable for beginners and experienced bakers alike. So if that sounds like you, and you don't mind a little self-deprecating humor thrown here and there from time to time, then we'll just stick around for a bit and make yourself comfortable. And who knows, you just might be surprised on what you actually learn from me. And just look how adorable these buns are. Who wouldn't want to get comfortable with them? Especially after you find out what these buns are intended for. Also known as Kanelbullar, Swedish cardamom buns are typically served during fika, which is a term that I literally did not even know about until I actually started to make these buns. So basically, fika is a style of coffee break which originated from Sweden, and it's when you would drink some coffee or tea or hot chocolate if you're not really into caffeine, and you enjoy it with a little pastry such as these cardamom buns, which is really popular over there, as well as other pastries such as princess cake and this ooey gooey chocolate cake, which they also have, and I saw a picture of it online when I was looking up what fika was, and it looked oh so heavenly, and it's definitely something that's going to be on my bucket list next. And unlike here, where we usually take our coffees to go and head back to the office or to school, in Sweden, they actually take their coffee breaks seriously and actually take the time to enjoy their coffee while spending it with friends or other company, or they just enjoy the time that they have together while eating delicious and delectable pastries and relaxing in peaceful surroundings, which honestly sounds so cozy and comfortable. Like, I just love cozy, and if I get a chance to go there, that is something I definitely want to try out. So these cardamom buns are quite similar to your standard cinnamon roll, in which they are filled to the brim with some cinnamon and cardamom, but instead of being rolled up and cut into rounds, these buns are folded up, cut into strips, and then twisted before being wrapped around into a little knot. And instead of being glazed with some cream cheese, these buns are brushed with some flavored sugar syrup and topped with some pearl sugar. And unlike most Kanelbullar recipes that you will see out there, these buns are made using some laminated dough for a bun that's not only more flakier, but also richer and has a stronger butter flavor to them as well. And it also really helps bring out the cardamom flavor in these buns too as well. Now, if you prefer to do things the traditional way, I've also included some timestamps in the description box down below so that you can continue to make these buns the way that you want to and skip the lamination process entirely. Your buns will be done more quickly this way, but they'll still be just as buttery and delicious as they would be had you had gone with the lamination method, just with a little less butter added to them. But please guys, don't knock the lamination method until you try it. I promise you, you will not be disappointed with the results. So are you ready to make some cardamom buns that will literally rock your taste buds and will make you swear that you're inside a hip and trendy coffee shop? Well, let's roll up our sleeves and let's go get started on them, shall we?
But before we begin, we are going to infuse some sugar with a little orange to use for the rolls. To a medium-sized bowl, add half a cup or 100 grams of granulated sugar and the zest of one orange, and using your hands, rub the sugar together until it has been fully infused with the orange. Continuing with the dry ingredients for the dough, add 3.5 cups or 438 grams of all-purpose flour and make sure to sift it to make it light and fluffy and free of any lumps. 2¼ teaspoons of instant or active dry yeast, 1 tablespoon of ground cardamom, and 1 teaspoon of salt, along with the infused sugar to a large bowl and mix them together until fully combined. Add half a cup or 113 grams of chilled, unsalted butter, preferably European style since this is a Swedish roll after all. Plus, it makes them even more buttery and flaky as well. And just cut it into the dry ingredients using a pastry cutter or 2 forks until it resembles coarse breadcrumbs. Once the flour is fully coated in the fat, add 1 cup or 240 milliliters of warmed milk to the bowl and mix it together until the dough forms into a shaggy ball. Lightly flour your countertop and knead your dough for 12 to 15 minutes by hand or until the dough has become smooth. You can also knead the dough in a stand mixer with a hook attachment for 7 to 10 minutes on medium-low speed if you prefer to do it that way. Once your dough has kneaded, place into a bowl and cover and allow it to rest for about 45 minutes or until doubled in size. Since we are doing things a little differently here, we are also going to be making a beurrage for these buns. So if you prefer to make these buns the classic way, please skip ahead to the timestamp that's been indicated or look in the description box down below to jump to that specific time. To make the beurrage, add 1.5 cups or 340 grams of chilled unsalted European butter that's been cut into cubes and 2 tablespoons or 16 grams of all-purpose flour to a medium-sized bowl and toss them together. Shape the butter into a square and flatten it using a rolling pin to help adhere the butter cubes together. Roll the butter block to a 15 by 9 inch rectangle and cover the block tightly with some plastic wrap. Place in the fridge to chill for at least an hour and up to 24 hours in advance. Once the detrumpe has fully rested, lightly dust your countertop and roll out your dough into a rectangle that's 22 inches in length and 15 inches in width. Again, you can just add the filling on top of this at this point, but since I had the bright idea to laminate this dough, we are going to have to place it in the fridge to chill. And now, this is where it gets tricky. Because this dough is way too big to place in a standard baking tray, we are going to get quite creative here. As you can see, I struggled to cover this massive piece of dough with the plastic wrap, and so now what I'll have to do here is to add several pieces of plastic wrap and place it in the biggest baking tray that I have, which is around 12 by 17 inches. What this means is that when it comes time to laminate this, you may have to gently stretch it out back to the correct size so that you can properly laminate your dough. Okay, so I figured out how to chill this bad boy, so let's place the detrumpe in the fridge for an hour before we can begin the lamination process. In the meantime, let's go make the filling for these buns. To a medium-sized bowl, add half a cup or 113 grams of unsalted butter, 3/4 cups or about 160 grams of packed light brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of ground cardamom, and 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract or paste, and using a spatula or a hand mixer if you prefer, cream the mixture together until the filling is nice and creamy. And just look how creamy and aromatic this filling is, you guys. Man, I wish you guys were actually here to smell this and even taste some of it too. It's really good. Since we are laminating the dough today, we are just going to cover the filling with some plastic wrap and set aside until it's time to spread it on the dough. Okay, it's time to laminate these layers together, and the detrumpe still fits just fine. Yes, I did have to fix it a bit, but it's still big enough to hold the beurrage. Anyways, place the beurrage 2/3 of the way down and carefully fold the detrumpe over the butter block. Give the countertop a very light dusting and carefully smush the detrumpe and the beurrage together. This process should be a lot easier to do than with the reverse lamination method that I did with the cheese croissants. However, the dough won't be as light or as flaky as those ones, but it is a lot easier to work with, especially if you are a beginner, so rolling and folding should be a breeze here. Once the dough has been properly laminated, roll the dough out to a 22 by 15 inch rectangle and do a single fold with the dough. That is, taking one end of the dough and folding it towards the center, and then taking the other end and folding that over the first half. Cover the dough with some plastic wrap and chill in the fridge for an hour before doing the next turn. Once the dough has chilled, rotate the dough 90 degrees so that the longer end is facing towards you, like as shown here, and continue the process of rolling out the dough to the same dimensions as before, which is 22 by 15 inches, and then doing another single fold. Chill and then repeat the process once more so that you have a grand total of 3 single folds. And now we can finally start filling these bad boys. I don't know about you, but lamination is a lot of hard work, but trust me you guys, the end result will so be worth the extra effort put in here. Take out your chilled dough and lightly dust your countertop. Roll out the dough to a 22 by 15 inch rectangle and add the prepared filling on top. Carefully spread the filling throughout the dough, making sure to leave about an inch of space at the end. And I know that this does not look like a lot of filling compared to the size of this dough, but I promise you that it will be able to fully cover the dough and then some, so we truly aren't missing out here. Just be very careful not to spread it too roughly or you'll risk tearing the delicate dough at the bottom. Do one last single fold with the dough, making sure that it's about 15 by 8 inches in size, and chill for another half hour to allow the dough to firm up a bit. Or if your dough isn't too soft, then you can go right ahead and cut it into strips now. Rotate the dough 90 degrees and make an indent every 2 centimeters apart, or just under an inch apart for the strips. Then, using a sharp knife or pizza cutter, cut along the indents. You should have about 20 strips in total. And do you see those little microscopic layers that we've created from the lamination process? Just wait until these are baked, and then you can see just how flaky these buns will get. These are going to be absolutely amazing, you guys. I can't wait! Now, there are 2 ways that you can shape your cardamom buns. You can do them the traditional way or the more simpler way. To do them the traditional way, take a strip and carefully twist and stretch them out until you get a tight looking twist like so. And then wrap it around your index and middle fingers for the first loop, and then add in your thumb for the second loop before gently removing the knot from the fingers and carefully placing the end of the dough on top. Still sounds a bit too complicated for you? Then try this other way of shaping the buns. While you are still stretching and twisting into a tight twist, instead of wrapping it around the fingers, we are just going to roll it up into a spiral, kind of similar to how we would shape our Chinese scallion pancakes. I'll show you guys how to shape your buns one more time so that you can better understand and how to shape them. Once all of your buns have been shaped, place them onto 2 large parchment paper lined baking trays and just drool at the beautiful cinnamon-cardamom swirls that we've just created together. Cover the trays with some plastic wrap and allow them to proof at room temperature for 1.5 to 2 hours or until the buns have doubled in size. Using 1 large egg, make the egg wash and carefully brush the buns with some of the beaten egg. Bake the buns in a 400-degree Fahrenheit oven or 205 degrees Celsius for 20 to 25 minutes or until the cardamom buns are golden brown throughout and the kitchen is super fragrant. While these buns are baking, let's prepare the sugar syrup. To a medium-sized bowl, add 1/3 cup or about 70 grams of granulated sugar and the zest of 1 orange and rub the sugars together until it's fully infused with the orange. Crush 1 teaspoon of green cardamom pods and add it to the sugar mixture. Finally, add in the seeds and the pod from half a vanilla bean and 1/3 cup or 80 milliliters of water to a medium-sized saucepan and mix it all together. Cook the syrup on medium heat for about 5 minutes or until the sugars have fully dissolved and the syrup has thickened. Place the sugar syrup in a heat-safe container, and once the rolls have finished baking, immediately brush the buns with the sugar syrup. Just really coat them with that syrup. And then to finish it off, sprinkle some pearl sugar on top. If you don't have any or can't find any for a reasonable price, then clear sanding sugar will also work in a pinch. And your cardamom buns are finally completed. Thanks to the lamination process, these buns have the added bonus of being extra flaky and super buttery as well. And even if you didn't laminate your dough, you do have to admit that these are still delicious and are insanely aromatic, like the swirls alone will draw you in here. But please, next time, for your own good, do give the extra flaky buns a try. As you can see here, the extra effort is so worth it. Just look at those flakes. You ain't never had a cinnamon bun like this, now haven't you? While these buns are perfect on its own, it's best served with some coffee or even hot chocolate if you're not a big caffeine fan.
And just look at the swirls and the flaky layers in these buns. I mean, how can you honestly not drool at this? And there you have it, Swedish cardamom buns. Super buttery and flaky and full of cardamom flavor throughout. These delectable buns are perfect for your next coffee break or for your holiday brunch, especially with the cardamom flavor in them. No, seriously, as I was making and baking these, the smell and the flavor of them just remind me of Christmas for some reason, and I just figured, like, why can't these be perfect for the holiday season as well? Like, they look so delectable and so elegant looking, like, why can't these be perfect for Christmas? You know what I mean? Like, it's just perfect. Speaking of which, I think I'm gonna have another bite of these, just so I can remind myself just how good these buns really can be. So, who wants to take a flight to Sweden with me? So these buns are extremely buttery and super tender, and the cardamom flavor is just spot on. You don't even need a glaze to go with these. Like, these buns would go just perfect with some coffee or with some hot chocolate, which coincidentally I have some brewing up right around now. So that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed today's recipe and the delectable swirls are inspiring you to make these buns for yourself, then why don't you give this video a like and leave a comment down below and tell me what you think of them, especially if you're going to give this recipe a try. And for any Swedes that may be watching this, please do tell me what you think of them. I really hope that I did you guys proud, and I hope that you aren't too disappointed that I made things a little bit differently than what you guys are used to when it comes to these buns. Share this video so that others can also try their hand at making their own cardamom buns. And if you're not already subscribed to me, but you enjoy the baking content that I do on here, please smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to be notified whenever I make a new baking tutorial or short. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Both usernames are Tiff's Patisserie, and the full written recipe to today's Swedish cardamom buns will be on my website, tiffspatisserie.wordpress.com. The link to that is in the description box down below. And until next time, you guys, stay safe out there, peace out, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Now, if you excuse me, it's time for my fika. You know that coffee break I was telling you guys about earlier, so I'm going to go enjoy it with some of this hot chocolate and these cardamom buns here. Now, this particular hot chocolate recipe is coming out very soon, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, anyways, go get out of here. Go and make these buns so you can also relax and enjoy yourself, just like what I'm going to be doing right now.